Well, it's time for a business update now with Charles Pellegrin. Charles, you're starting with Donald Trump's visit to Saudi Arabia and a host of AI investments in the country.
The Trump administration making it possible for Saudi Arabia to pursue its lofty AI ambitions, and a number of U.S. tech companies rushing to seize this opportunity for a new market by announcing plans to spend billions of dollars in the country. Chief among them is chipmaker Nvidia, which says it will supply several hundred thousands of its most advanced AI chips to Saudi Arabia's new publicly funded company Humain over the next 5 years. But its main competitor, AMD, has also said it will provide chips and software for data centers stretching from the kingdom to the U.S. in a project worth $10 billion. In addition to this, U.S. tech venture Global AI has plans to collaborate with Humain on data center construction. Same goes for Amazon Web Services, which has a $5.3 billion investment in Saudi, and Cisco. Speaking in Riyadh on Tuesday, Nvidia CEO Jensen Huang pointed to Saudi Arabia's wealth in fossil fuel energy as a major selling point for building AI infrastructure known to use huge amounts of electricity.
Is also in itself an industry. It is a manufacturing industry. It's a manufacturing industry that requires energy. And as you know, Saudi Arabia is rich with energy. Transforming the energy through this giant versions of these NVIDIA AI supercomputers, which are essentially AI factories.
All right, tell us more then, Charles, about this Saudi AI firm, Humain.
It's a brand new venture which was literally unveiled by the kingdom this Monday. Part of its plans to diversify its economy away from oil. It's owned by Saudi Arabia's Public Investment Fund and aims to build data centers and the country's AI infrastructure. The objective would be to build 1.96 gigawatts of data centers by 2030. Its other goals include developing Arabic versions of large language models like the ones that power ChatGPT. And for chip makers like Nvidia or AMD, Humain represents a new source of potential revenue and an opportunity to widen their customer bases beyond U.S. tech giants like Microsoft or Amazon.
And the Trump administration paved the way for these deals.
On Tuesday, the U.S. rescinded what was called the AI diffusion rule, which was enacted by Joe Biden before he left office in January 2025, and which created 3 tiers of access for countries who wish to buy advanced AI chips. These rules were meant to better control the flow of this critical technology, especially with regards to national security, but also to stop countries with autocratic systems, like Saudi Arabia, from developing tech that could be used for state surveillance purposes. In its statement, the Bureau of Industry and Security in the U.S. said that those rules stifled innovation and saddled companies with burdensome new regulatory requirements.
All right, Charles, walk us through what's happening on the markets.
Well, European markets opening flat this hour, with the DAX in Frankfurt up almost 0.2%, while the FTSE in London is down 0.1%. So stabilizing after the rally we saw at the beginning of the week on the back of that U.S.-China trade deal.
And finally, as Donald Trump continues to wage trade wars against partners worldwide, China is positioning itself as a free trade defender.
Especially 2 countries that are reeling from economic shocks. President Xi Jinping hosted President Lula of Brazil for bilateral talks on Tuesday. The two signed over 20 cooperation documents and presented a united front defending a multilateral world order threatened by tariffs. Carolyn Baum has this.
Brazilian President Lula received a warm welcome in Beijing this week as he and his Chinese counterpart, Xi Jinping, discussed increased cooperation between their countries in the face of U.S. tariffs. The 2 leaders spoke harshly of economic disruptions caused by Trump's trade war.
As important representatives of the global South, both China and Brazil believe that there is no winner in the tariff war or trade war. Protectionism is not the right answer to the challenge. China and Brazil will further uphold the principles of free trade and the multilateral trading system, create an open, inclusive, and non-discriminatory international cooperation environment, and maintain the momentum and vitality of global economic growth.
Following bilateral talks, Xi and Lula signed over 20 cooperation documents regarding agriculture, nuclear energy, and technical cooperation between the 2 countries. A lucrative opportunity for Brazil, the largest economy in South America. As U.S. exports to China dwindle, Brazil is notably seeking to sell more agricultural goods to China, which is the world's largest food importer. Key among them are soybeans. Brazil currently provides 70% of China's supply. Ahead of Lula's visit, China reinstated imports from 5 Brazilian companies, banned in January over quality concerns. The Brazilian president expressed enthusiasm for warmer relations with China.
The nearly 30 agreements we signed today are proof of the dynamism that President Xi and I have brought to the bilateral relationship. It's no exaggeration to say that, despite the more than 15,000 kilometers that separate us, we've never been so close.
Earlier in the day, President Xi hosted a range of Caribbean and Latin American leaders for a high-profile summit. Talks centered around how China could step up in a region largely abandoned by the U.S. through development credits and increased cooperation.
Back to you, Karis.
Thank you, Charles, for that business update. We're going to go to the press review now with